yeah, how much does it cost is probably one of the most difficult questions when it comes to speech analytics. And I think my dream is to have a table where I could just point everyone to. But the complexity comes from various, I think, factors, and we can see them here listed to the left. So around scope, volumes, or support. So within scope, so for example, if you're analyzing calls for your sales team or your inbound support, that will be very different. So there will be different complexity. If you're looking for understanding the root causes as opposed to why are people not buying, or why are they canceling? Why am I not retaining them? If I'm offering some attractive deals and so on. Another element is channels that you integrate. So even though with more volume, cost usually goes down because you could do more with less resource, or you could optimize your computational resources, maybe is the best way to describe it. However, if you have different channels feeding into the platform, that also leads to some maybe implementation costs, basically increasing more points of breaking things, so it could also impact the cost in that way. The quality function, I think we touched on a few times in this presentation, and that's I think very important use case, when it comes to interaction analytics. And I think the depth of your quality function, so how much you want to customize things and so on, I think also could have an impact. So when it comes to volume, so I said volumes usually impact the price, and I think this is what we see on the right hand side, that kind of the line doesn't go straight, but it kind of flattens at a certain point. And that's because as you have more volumes, and when we say volumes, that's not necessarily the head count, it's more about the number of interactions that you have, per day or per month and so on. Also, it does depend on whether you want to do a full review. So what I mentioned previously in the example, 100% call monitoring, do you want to include emails in that as well, chat, or do you want to just do, partial review and so on. So one thing to bear in mind is what Paul mentioned, is that you do need to have a certain amount of data in order to start to get certain accuracy. It really depends on what kind of functionalities you are after, and what your role is and so on. But I think one thing to bear in mind is that if you don't have enough data, you might need to wait maybe a few months until you really get to the accuracy that's very, very good. But usually you don't. I think people who look into speech analytics usually don't actually have the problem. So maybe that's more kind of academic thing to think about. And finally, having this kind of platform implemented, but not used, is obviously a big cost and also a lost opportunity. So you really need to have a team of analysts who are looking into these findings and bringing benefits back to your business. And this is very, very important. And yeah, so as all of these kind of go up, then yeah. So basically, I was just going to say one more thing, Paul, which is, so obviously we are talking about costs here, but you have to look at them in the context of the benefit.